Well, good to be joined by Blues chairman and chairman of the Blues ownership group, Tom Stillman. And Tom, thanks for giving us a little bit of time today. First off, how are you doing through this pandemic and the pause in our season?
I guess I'd say I'm doing all right. Family is healthy, so I'm very thankful for that. Stopping the season was a tough blow for everybody in the organization, and I'm sure our fans feel the same way. But we're hopeful that we can resume play in some fashion, and we have to see what the health authorities say, see when things can open up. We hope we can, but we're going to first, be sure that we're taking care of the health and safety of the people in the organization and our fans.
What has this been like for you?
I'd have to say I'm getting a little stir crazy. I think I would in any event, in something like this, but when you stop play and you're first in the Western Conference and playing well at the right time of year, that can drive you a little nuts. But we're just trying to stay positive, keep focused on what we can do and being ready if and when we get to play, and again just focused on the health and safety of our families, the organization, everybody.
What has the process been like going through this and hearing from the league, the conference calls, the updates, the thought processes, the planning for unknown scenarios, I guess would be the best way to put it. But overall, what have you experienced through that?
It's funny when the epidemic really started to take hold, but before the NBA made its announcement, I was, okay, it's a problem, but I didn't think it necessarily was going to get to us. And then it was very sudden that it did. Things changed over a day or two. The NBA made its announcement. I think that made it impossible for other leagues not to do the same. And it turned so quickly. And since then, it's a lot of dealing with uncertainty. I mean, even the Board of Governors calls, and nobody can know. I know that Gary and the league are working day and night on various options, what we can do, what will work, what won't. But everything is through a filter of uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen, when we might be able to play, what format it might take.
Sports, as you mentioned, the NBA kind of got the ball rolling, in terms of some of the leagues canceling really worldwide. Sports has really taken a lead in this, I think, from a very public standpoint. Do you get the sense and feel that sports will also take a leading role coming out of this?
Yeah, it's a good question. I agree that sports did take a lead role in kind of stepping up and closing things down and supporting the social distancing and all the things that we need to do. Leading the way out of it, I'm not sure that we will be in a position to do that because our businesses, by their very nature, mean bringing a lot of people together in close proximity. And I would think that, the first steps out of the social distancing and all the other things will be more moderate steps, allowing people into small shops, people into, small gatherings, but not, with some space. So I'm not sure that we are going to be in the position to lead the way out. Now, if either the NHL or other sports decide to start by playing games without fans, then I think we may be able to be in the lead a little bit more, but not, in the form that we're all used to.
A month ago, a thought like that probably would have seemed so far-fetched and not even something on the radar worth considering. A month later, as you said, this has changed so much and so often. Are thoughts like that and pretty much just about anything on the table in terms of how to jumpstart things when the opportunity is there?
I think so. And you're right. It was unthinkable, 3-4 weeks ago when I first heard of teams in I think it was the Swiss League that first started playing games with no fans. It was just astounding. And here we are, that's a real option. I don't know whether it will go that way. Nobody should take anything I say to be any suggestion that I know what route we're going to go. I mean, the league doesn't know at this point, and they can't know. So I don't know. But where it was unthinkable, now I tend to think that, well, at least you're giving fans, the game, the excitement of the game, and you're giving our fans and probably beyond our fans something to focus on, something that's fun at a time that's, kind of bleak, and people are sitting around and really dying to have games to watch. So, I don't think it's out of the question, but again, I don't know that option is any more likely than anything else.
Hey, how hard is it, Tom, as an owner, as a leader, as a steward of the franchise, as you like to say, how hard is this to go through?
Well, I can't say it's been fun or easy, but at the same time, you can't sit around and pout about it either. This is our situation, and we have to move forward and make sure that we're ready to play. If and when we play, and we'll certainly be playing next season and maybe this season, and we have to do the things to protect our business. And I know Doug Armstrong and his group are going full speed ahead on the draft and all the things that they normally do this time of year. Chris Zimmerman and the business side, they have to keep on top of things and keep pushing things forward. So it's not easy for anybody. Even though people aren't at the office, I know both Doug and Chris and the people under them are working hard. But I guess the most difficult thing, I think, is the uncertainty. It's, are we going to play or we're not going to play? And also this feeling that, we're the defending champs and we are playing well and we've assembled this team and we have this window and, now we want to make the most of it. So that's a little frustrating.
Sports has had a way over the years to unify, and we saw what winning that Stanley Cup did to this city, did to this region. We saw the amazing celebration, the parade, the party underneath the arch, and just what it's been like since. Is this another opportunity for the St. Louis Blues to continue to unify through their messaging?
Yeah, I think it is, and that's what Chris and Steve Chapman and Randy Gersh and a lot of people have been working on. We have a lot of community initiatives going, just got involved in this Light It Blue, honoring healthcare workers and others who are working through all the pandemic. And we do see it as an opportunity to connect with the community, help unify the community, just like our win did last year. I think that's something that we always want to be able to do, and it's even more important right now.
Yeah, the role of the St. Louis Blues in the community is something that has been at the front of your mission statement from day one, hasn't it?
It has. I think that's part of being a Major League Sports franchise. And especially in a market like this, we're we're a town that comes together and really bonds with its franchises and other things that are important in the community. So it's an important part of our role. As we've always said, the community supports us well, and we want to do that in return.
Tom, what if anything can you talk about just in terms of the impact on this from a business side of things and how you manage through it?
Well, obviously, it's not a positive impact. But over the last several years, we've worked hard to, make the franchise a lot healthier financially, and we are much more stable than we used to be. So we will weather the storm. We'll withstand what's going on and come through it. I'm not going to say it's going to be without some pain, but we'll be okay, and we'll come out the other end and be stronger for it.
Season ticket holders are such a lifeblood of an organization too, and the Blues over the years have done an amazing job, especially in the last 6 or 7, of making sure that value is known and their value. Great events that they've been a part of. I think we're even holding the virtual happy hour for season ticket holders coming up sometime in the next week or so. Just again, doing what we can in the unknown. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong. All I know is there's good effort, and I think that's what matters most here. But what message, if anything, would you have for the season ticket holders of your organization right now?
Well, first, it's always thanks so much for supporting us, this season and through the years. We don't exist without that support. And second is that I wish that we could tell you something with some certainty, how this season is going to conclude, what's ahead. I guess I just ask the understanding that we can't know right now. We can't know until we see what the medical experts are saying, when it's safe to play again, and then, what kind of format it will take. But we do want them to know how important they are to us, and that we're trying to, get answers, and we'll get information to them as soon as we can.
So you mentioned that Doug Armstrong, working on things such as how you would plan for the draft. Even though we may not know exactly how that is going to work or when that is going to work, that is all still work that needs to be done, because that eventually it is going to happen, right?
Yes, there definitely will be a draft. Like you said, I don't know when it will be. It's usually July 1. No, not July 1. It's usually late June, and free agency is July 1. My guess is it won't be then. My guess is that it also won't be everybody getting together on the floor of an arena, but even that hasn't been decided. But yeah, we can't skip a draft year and then have those kids miss that year and you can't do that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a combine, but that doesn't mean that our guys will still be evaluating players based on what they've been able to see. They'll still do interviewing by phone or Zoom or something like that. And, we'll be ready. One thing that the hockey guys say is that because the junior leagues and NCAA hockey stopped, we don't get to see the players in the high pressure situations, in their playoffs and all. But everybody's in the same boat, so we'll be able to make good choices. Bill Armstrong and his group have done a great job over the years, and I'm sure they're going to do it again.
Any insight or light you can share on how the league is going through the processes of things, like how they would want to handle free agency or the draft or any of those kind of things? Is it all just ideas right now and waiting to see how things play out?
It really is. And probably people think, come on, you must know this or that. It's the league just can't make decisions until it knows what the landscape's going to be. And I think they're going through a process of, multiple what ifs for each event, whether it's playing regular season games, playoffs, how do we play, what's the format, where do we play, all sorts of things. And nobody's trying to hide the ball or anything. It's just you can't know until it's there. One thing that did make a dramatic change is or at least for possibilities, was when the Olympics were postponed. I think before the Olympics were postponed, the league probably saw July 23 as an end date for us, with the Olympics starting July 24, because at that point, NBC would be full, the attention would be elsewhere. Just, now with that period open, I think, playing later is more of a real possibility.
Could you imagine playing hockey in August?
Always played summer hockey through college. it was kind of fun. Although this wouldn't be like that summer hockey. That was, had a little, casual air about it. This would be the most serious hockey in July and August. It would be different, but it'd also be really memorable. So I'm certainly open to it.
Welcome too, wouldn't it?
Oh, I'll say. After people have been dealing with this for a long time and missing their sports, it would be a real lift.
Hey, a lot of teams are, again, like I said before, you're trying to come up with ideas. We've got with our Blue Note Productions team putting out great videos. I thought the one a couple nights ago, Jordan Bennington having a chat with John Hamm and Joe Buck, was just fantastic. Great hockey conversations, and my favorite part really might have been Jordan Bennington asking John Hamm about, being in Curb Your Enthusiasm. But and you also saw, the fun part too is you also saw a generational gap between those two guys and Jordan as well, and how that got bridged. Has the fan part of you allowed yourself to enjoy some of those moments and some of the things being shared by other teams, some of the interaction between players? And just shoot some of just the fun videos that we're seeing of players and some of their personalities coming out.
Yeah, it's been fun to see those and kind of relieve some of the, the dragging down effect. The first video in the director's cut series, the first 24 hours, that obviously brought back a lot of good memories, and the exchange between Petro and Jonathan Toews, and a lot of those things have been good, and kind of brings you back to what we're about, and what's ahead.
There are some definitely some great challenges ahead. What do you see as some of the ones once we get going that'll be important for the St. Louis fans to know that, look, some things will be within our control as an organization. Some things may be in the control of civic leaders and what is allowed. But what is one thing that you'd like the fans to know about when the opportunity to come back will be there, what you can tell them they'll get a chance to see?
Well, they'll certainly get a chance to see great hockey, because we won't be putting players on the ice unless they're ready to play. We're not going to be risking their, serious injuries with people who aren't prepared. But I guess the other thing I'd like to make people comfortable with is that we won't open up for fans unless we are certain that we can provide a safe and healthy environment. I can't imagine the army of cleaning folks that are going to be around, when we start up, and I'm sure it'll be a constant cleaning, never stop through games. So I can assure people we're not going to do anything unless it'll be safe for our fans.
You know what? Gary Bettman came out, it might have been 3 weeks ago, I think I read his comments, where he talked about the Stanley Cup. And he said one of the things that was important when it comes to awarding the Stanley Cup is not that you just award the cup, but you award it with the history and the integrity of what winning that Stanley Cup means. Is that process equally as important to you and other owners around the league?
Yeah, it is. You can't just have some tremendously truncated process and then award a cup with a big asterisk. That's not good for the game. It's not good for the league. You know, the question is, where is that line? You know, what is sufficient to maintain the integrity, the difficulty of winning, the traditions, all that. And you know, that's one of the big questions that's going to have to be resolved, you know, as we come out of that. You know, some people might say, unless it's 4 series of, you know, best of 7, then, you know, it's not the real thing. No, I don't know if it's that, if there could be, you know, a shortened series, if there could be, I don't know. I think, you know, that's one of the questions that's going to have to be resolved. But I do think that's very important. The other bright line that the league has drawn is that whatever we do this season should not harm next season. And I think that's equally important. That doesn't mean we couldn't start a little later next year and then maybe, I don't know, eliminate the All-Star break, eliminate the, you know, the bye week, some things like that. But we want to make this a one season effect, not let it bleed over into next season.
Yeah, you know, there is actually, just from a pure hockey discussion standpoint, Tom, I mean, there's league precedent of some of the early rounds of the playoffs being less than 7 games. Right. I mean, now it's not very recent NHL history, you know, but it has been part of it. So I think you can. There are ways to make adjustments while you still recognize the history of how that cup has been awarded in the past.
Well, if you go back to, you know, pre-expansion, it was 2 rounds too.
Right.
And there aren't any asterisks on those cups. Now, nobody should take that. I think we'll be playing 2 rounds, or we should be. I don't see that or anything like that. But you're right. There is precedent for, you know, a very different format and, you know, length of playoffs.
Anything else you'd like the fans of your franchise to know or hear from you as everybody battles through this?
Mainly, we hope everybody and their families are staying safe, staying healthy. Do what the authorities say. I know I'm going stir crazy, but it's the right thing to do. Actually, I've been out in the woods, you know, looking for turkeys because that's the only thing I can do to stop myself from going nuts. But stay safe, and again, thank you for their support. Thanks for sticking with us in a difficult time, and you know, I hope the fans and their families are all okay.
And they are first and foremost in the franchise's mind, aren't they?
I'll say we're not here without them. So please, everybody, take care.
Tom, thank you.
Thank you, Kerbs.
All right.
You take care too.
Yeah, you too, Tom. Thank you very much.
Thanks.